second. Share the stream. Thumbs up on the videos would be great. Thank you. Played some Battlefield 6 earlier with Thor and Internal Matter, which is my son Austin, and then his wife played with us, Sophia. Had a good old time. Had some tough matches, it was fun. Forza. Okay, we're ready here. Saved. Changing. Okay. Let's see, anybody in the chat? Hello. Welcome to the stream. Okay, me and ClickSlayer we are ready to do a little practice lap on Bathurst. Some kind of setting on here. Display. Show frame rate. That's not just good. And let's see if it can maintain that frame rate. Um,
Thirty seconds.
the software in the rear might help. Disconnected. Alright, the fucking race done, you piece of shit game. They can't do anything right. No, they cannot. No more. Try another session. Forza, huh? So can you phone do 4 hours? Oh, take that.
Sebring's final 180-degree sunset bend is fast and bumpy, so it's crucial you drive a smooth, clean line around it.
We go to freezes again. It's causing these freezes. Jeez. I don't think I got him. I like to race. And that's what I get online to do, is to do some racing. Those Forzas, you know, do Forza things. Alright. Let's race. Let's get it. Let's try it. Shift that thing. pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good. What in the... You don't like it. Help. I think it's just got too soft in the front. I love the way it turns, but then the back end's not right, so. Hello, welcome to the stream. Somebody has got a bad microphone. Let's see who it is. Let's say it's this guy or this guy. Right, let's get it. So we met a follower a little earlier. 760 or 750 rather. Had to change it to 760. We gotta up the goal. One of these days we'll actually have 1,000. That would be something. 7 likes on the video on TikTok. Thank you. Appreciate you. Got some viewers on YouTube. Hello. Got some viewers on Twitch as well. Holy shit. There you go, man. Still got a lot of oversteer in it. We'll go on to the next race and dial it in. I don't care to do 10 minutes with it not steering correctly. So we'll just go to the next one. Yeah, that's pretty good though. I just need some more. Good is good, rolling great. Still people playing on the dirty bumps. When is the Monday? Yeah. Look at my rating. Terrible. Who cares, bruv? It make no difference. 2 minutes walking square. Or 10 minutes shorter race. I think we'll do that one. Everybody's gonna be running race tires. I'm gonna be running sport, but which aren't nearly as grippy. But oops, tuning it, dialing it in. You know, it is.
After the permanent road course was completed in the 1950s, among so many other race series, Watkins Glen hosted the prestigious 6 Hours at the Glen endurance race starting in the 1960s.
What a big lobby. Big lobby. Okay, that's alright, we're tuning anyway. Boundary. I think it had some oversteer in it, so we can help it. That should help. Hey G, how's it going? Forza 5? Nice. What are you driving tonight? What's your go-to car in the Forza 5? Got a Chiron? Ooh, cool. That Chiron's awesome. You seen the interior of that thing? It's so cool. Looks like art. I love the Bugatti stuff. I mean, just anybody that decided we need tons of power and made a W16 engine, 16 cylinders, 4 turbos, 4 intercoolers, you know, it's oil coolers. It's just crazy. Hey Jerk, thank you for the follow. How you doing? We're just vibing tonight, man. We're just having a good night. A good morning. Doing really good, man. Getting some Forza in. It's the Forza servers have been kind of flaky. Yeah, crazy these cars are cranking out. You know, I think the new Vet's like 1,000 or 1,200 horsepower, and then what the Chiron's what, like 1,500 or something. Of course, it's heavier. But you know, where's it going to end? Because I mean, if you look around, you can look up for like a Calvo tuned V10 Viper. I think it's a GTS, so probably like a 97 to 99. The forged internal years. I got the thing hooking on the street with like 3,000 horsepower. It's just got some really creative engine management, traction control, boost by gear, you know, all that cool stuff. Same thing the front wheel drive guys do, boost by gear. You just don't let it have the full power until it gets in the upper gears. And once it hooks, it starts to just ramping the power up. Bad hop there. Crazy. Doing something weird when I hit the brakes. It's like shooting off, pushing. I don't know. Feels like the front tires are locking up. And usually you see it in the tire heat. You'll see them turn yellow. I didn't see that time, so I was a little puzzled as to why it didn't do that. Something about the brakes aren't right. I have to work on that. Paddle shifters aren't working. That's weird. The Koenigsegg. Yeah. Yeah, the Koenigsegg's pretty awesome. They're really doing some serious engineering too. They've got like custom engines, custom transmissions. You know, there's a lot of hypercar manufacturers that are using like Mercedes engines and this and that. And Koenigsegg's doing some real engineering. I think any company that can do their own engineering, build their own engines, their own transmissions, and like come up with novel designs, that's the company that's going to be around for a long time, kicking ass. Suzuki. Mugello could be fun. Mugello. Dream car. My dream car was always the Ferrari F40. Yeah, and then as far as like attainable dream cars, like something I could possibly get, I've always wanted a Hellcat. I mean, I'd rather have a Demon, but a Hellcat, you know, is more attainable. Something like that. I think they got the right amount of power. When you get around 700-800 horsepower, that's a good amount of power. That's a lot of fun. 500 horsepower puts you in the 10-second club in a quarter mile. You know, low 11s, 125 miles an hour. You know, in an Evo or something lightweight, fairly lightweight, 3,000 pounds, 3250. 600 horse. They're still pretty reliable and don't break a lot. In the Evo world that I came from. But 600 horsepower required a built cylinder head, ported cylinder head. Couldn't do it on stock head. About 500 was it, without running high boost and stretching the stock head bolts. 600, you did a cylinder head, you did a head ARP head studs. Nobody in this session yet. That's pretty good. And 600 would, I think I ran 1035 at 135 mile per hour and a quarter on pump gas, shitting and getting. That was really good. So I got a Supra because I like drifting. Yeah, Supra. You can do anything with a Supra. They're a great car. That's a car that I'm impressed with because you can make them turn, you can make them straight line. They're just awesome platform. That's why I bought the Evo. I felt like it was a good platform. I autocrossed it, I drag raced it, I road coursed it. You could rally it. You do all kinds of stuff with it. Ooh, that's a good looking car right there. Look at that, boys. Hell yeah. Hey, Jake. Yeah, I painted them up. But actually, I need to check. The servers weren't working right earlier, and they're not working great now. But one of my friends, SHR, Gideon, SHR means shit happens racing. They're like a race team. They're all pretty cool. Anyway, SHR Gideon said he made me a livery for this car. I couldn't get it to load earlier, but I need to check it again. Yeah, I usually do like an American flag on them or something, kind of pro-America, which kind of like, and I usually do like a chrome paint on the body. Because in my mind, I think of it like a 60s fighter jet or something, you know? Something's wrong with the front. There's just, it starts turning in and it's like almost like it needs more camber, honestly. Even though the camber should be right. Just give it a shitload of camber, see how it does. Just feel like I turn a little bit, it grips really good. I turn a little bit more and it feels like the tire just completely lets loose. It's not laying flat or something. but it's like a lot of tire shake, like something's not right. A lot of tire shake at the front. Hello, welcome to the stream. Still feels like the tires on marbles. Hear it chirping. Not supposed to do that. What is going on with this car? I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board or something. Gotten goofed. Start fresh. It's gotten out of whack. Sometimes you just gotta start fresh. Let's do. Let's square it up first. And then see what we need to do. Everything else should be okay. bro. Have a good race in the Forza. The Forza 5. What is nuts? Okay, that's cool. We can still watch. Can you mute your mic, dude? Hello, Risen27 for the win 4. Hello, that's you. It's not very bright, is he? Yeah, they do get expensive, man. You can spend whatever you want on a lot of hobbies. I feel like you can spend 500 and have a good setup. 500 or 600 and get you about anything. More than that, I think you're wasting your money probably. front end's grabbing all that great. Just don't feel it. This front end, let's soften up a little bit. Those two things should make the front end grab better. Maybe too much. 300 is not bad, yeah. What wheel are you looking at? And how much is it? 300? 300 is not bad. Pretty good price, I think. I think a $300 wheel will do everything a $500 wheel can do. That's close people here. The Logitech G20. G20. G920. G20. Oh, okay. Race is starting. New song for the race. It's a bigger race. I think the tune is decent. got one tire over the side. And it's crazy. Gotta go. I'll see you later, bro. Have a good day. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me. See you next time. This is a Fanatic CSL DD, like direct drive. It's got a gas pedal, brake pedal, paddle shifters, a rev stripe, shows RPM. It doesn't show the RPM, it shows shift indicator light and a gear selection indicator. And that's pretty much it. When you buy a CSL DD kit, they'll ask you, do you want the 4-meter motor or do you want the 8 or it's 5 or 8? And I opted for the 8. Bigger, more is better, and I can always turn it down. But if my small motor decides you need more, you can't do anything, you know. So, and also if you use a large motor and turn it down, you know, then it'll run forever. I think I've had enough of that track. Yeah, it's a good wheel. It's got some flaws in it though. Some design flaw I don't like. There's an intermediate shaft, I would call it, or a steering wheel shaft that goes between the motor and the wheel itself. About that long, and on one end of it, it's got a clamp that the wheel clamps to. And the other end of it, it's got a male USB piece sticking out. And so when you shove the wheel with that shaft connected to it into the motor, it makes the USB connection and lights up the motor and gives power to the, or lights up the wheel and gives power to the wheel and the buttons and paddle shifters and stuff. Well, that USB connection has to be all the way in there, and then this collar is clamped really, really tight so that whenever you pull on the wheel when you're hitting the brakes or whatever, you don't pull that USB connection out. Well, it happens. No matter how tight I get that collar, that USB connection just seemed to be barely in there. Oh, my safety rating's terrible right now. Well, safety goes between A and S. Sometimes it's up and higher. My skills keeps going down because I'm tuning cars, so I quit races mid-race if the tune doesn't feel right. And that makes your skill go down. It's usually like 4950, 4000, 4950, stuff like that. But lately it's been pretty low. But it's just a number. I drive the same every race, so it doesn't really reflect my actual skill. Just reflects that I've been disconnecting and goofing off. Let's see. Let's just see if there's another race. I need a track that I can tune on. That's helpful for tuning. Some of these tracks I don't use them for tuning. Grand Oak would be a good one to tune on. And alternatively, Grand Oak or I think Michelin's more fun. Grand Oak, better tuning track, but Michelin's more fun. Let's do Michelin. I don't know. I just like racing with other people. I thought about just hosting my own, and sometimes I do that. Ha! The name of this song is Starion. That's after the Mitsubishi Starion, which is funny because I owned one of those. The car. I had the Chrysler Conquest TSI, which is the same thing as the Mitsubishi Starion. Back in the day, Chrysler and Mitsubishi had some joint ventures. The Eagle Talon, the Mitsubishi Eclipse, the Plymouth Laser, it's all the same car. I had a Dodge Stealth and I also had a Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. Same car. It's a different badge. The Mitsubishi version usually had more gadgetry, a little bit better version. American version is usually not quite as good. They didn't export their best, the best they did in the country. This car is faster with race tires on it, but I'm tuning on sport tires because sometimes I go to the multi-class and I want it to be dialed in for that. Let's see, on the tune, let me get an eyeball on it. Yeah, softened up the front a little bit so it wouldn't grip. Softened up the front a little bit so it would grip. And softened up the front a little bit so it would grip. I feel like if you can get the front to grip and turn, you're on your way. Then it's a balancing act to get the back end to not go around too much. But you gotta get that front end to turn in like really fucking good. Like if you can hug the apex instead of having to swing real wide, now you got the grip. Now this car's rating for grip is really low. It's actually a top end car. But I feel like if I can get the tune super slick, it could grip as well as some other people with a higher grip car rating that's not tuned very good. And then we'll be competitive, I think, with those guys. Sort of practice. Yeah, I need another song. Nope. Kinda chill, guys. That's kind of cool. Kind of shimmery. What damping does? Yeah, on the spring dampening. Well, so you have dampening and rebound. That's the two parts of it. Dampening is like think about you're going over a speed bump, right? If your dampening is firm, you're going to hit that speed bump and the struts, the springs, the coilovers, however the setup is, are going to be so firm that you hit that thing and it's like a rock. If you have that dampening firm, the shocks don't give, and you're just going to hit it and bounce off of it. Shoot you up in the air and jump. Conversely, if you slide that slider all the way left, you've made the shock super smooth, soft. So you can run over a bump or a curve or something and the car just goes barely affected by it. Super firm, you're going to go skyrocketing off a curve. Super soft, you're just going to go right over it. And then the other side of it is rebound. They're totally different. They're totally independent of each other. One is how much the shock absorbs a bump, and the other one is how much it returns the tires to the surface after it's left the surface, after it's jumped, after it's taken a bump. So think in your head like you're going over a speed bump. You want those front tires to be really soft so that they go up into the wheel well and absorb that jump, and that keeps the body of the car from getting upset, because if the body of the car gets upset, the tires come off the ground. But if you can make your shocks super soft and absorb that bump, the car will just go right over it. You won't lose steering, you won't lose braking. On the rebound side is if you do get airborne for some reason, you come up and over a hill and the car gets really light because you're going 200 miles an hour. You want your tires to return to the earth quickly as possible. That's rebound. So you want your rebound really high so that if you do skip over a curb and the tires come off the ground, the rebound is the shock's ability to shove the tires back down on the ground as quickly as possible. So your whole goal there is to keep the tires on the surface at the right angle, the right pressure. When you get it right, you won't feel a lot of vibration in the wheel. If you get it wrong, it's going to go and the car's going to skip. And when you're skipping, that's the tire grabbing and letting go, grabbing and letting go, because the angle's not right. When you get everything down, it's going to feel like you're on, all of a sudden you're going to feel like, oh, it's just, I'm driving on glass. It's smooth, even around the corners at speed. If you're feeling vibration, that's a tire slip to some degree, whether it be in the front or the rear. If you only feel it when you're turning initially, that's going to be the front. If you feel it secondarily, that's the rear. Because when you go into the corner, it's the front of the car hits the corner first. Anyway, I can rant all day about tuning. I used to do it for a living, so I still do, but I haven't advertised in years. I just now started advertising again. Yeah, so if you look at my tune, you'll see my strategy on dampening. Very soft on the front to absorb bumps, to absorb the bump. And then rebound, I want that tire to return back to earth quickly, so I've got them hella firm. Now you can play around with these settings and maybe find something better, but that's just kind of a generic setting to get started. Let's go to practice. It might kick me out of the session. It's been kind of sketchy lately. Alright. This is boogity boogity boogity. Oh, this is a great track. I'm glad I went to this one instead of the other one. Come on, Forza. You don't put me into a corner at full speed over a hill with cold tires. Like, here's your car. Full speed into a corner. No ability to stop. Okay, car's trying to over rotate. That means the back end's too firm. I've got a graphics setting turned up too high. See the background stuttering. Settings of video. Let's go to 145. You don't want stuttering video. It makes my eyes. It's like blinking, like a strobe. It's silky smooth. That's why we bought a computer. We're in the weeds, boys. Hang on. Oh. I can't drive 55. turning this super slick.
Restart in 5 minutes.
Fellas, we're on a hot one. Tunup's feeling pretty damn solid, actually. Not a lot of tire shake, just a little bit. Yeah, 126s, it's not bad. I mean, it's full sport tires, so. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Easy? Easy. Welcome, welcome. Got a run, Jared? Alright, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. It's nice to meet you. And hope we see you again. We'll be playing some more Forza and Battlefield 6 and Dirty Bomb and some other stuff, but we'll play some more Forza later in the day, and there'll be a lot of people on, and we'll get some big lobbies going. So any guys watching want to be a part of that, just add my username you can see in the top left on the screen, which is Mellonpopr7067. This tune-up feels really good. I'd like to be able to go flat out at the bottom of the hill to the front straight, but I don't think I got it dialed in for that yet, but we're getting there. Feels pretty good, actually. Let's find a good tune for the race. Ooh. That's very fun. I'm kind of digging that. Let's try that one. I like to DJ while I'm playing, you know? I mean, I should get me one of those tables, you know, with the fake knobs on it, so I'm like doing this. A little fader. Buttons. Gotta hold one hand on the headphone. See, I'm a natural. Yeah, we got some viewers on YouTube and TikTok and Twitch. Had 8 likes on TikTok. I think we had a few on YouTube too. Thank you. Appreciate you guys hitting a thumbs up and a like button. That helps with the algorithm. Fellas. Let's put it on the CE spec guys coming. Melissa. Yeah, I never did pick that one up. I've got this, and I got a set of Corsa Evo and competition, and a regular set of Corsa. I feel like I got my stable of race games, and I got Le Mans Ultimate. I don't play Le Mans Ultimate. Oh, what's my shifter doing? Oh, whoa. Shifter just decided to downshift. That was crazy. Tired. The tune feels good. I don't feel anything that needs to be changed. Guess we gotta check the camber. Use the rest of the race for a tuning session. You'd love how to release this too. Yeah. What I like about Forza, is I don't have to pay for the cars and tracks. You know, you buy the game one time and that's it. It's not heavy on DLC and extras. So, for those reasons, they got Forza's really good. So let me tell you, I've seen the other side of it with iRacing and Le Mans Ultimate. You gotta buy the cars, you gotta buy the tracks, you gotta buy a yearly subscription service, you gotta buy the DLCs. It's just, and then after all that, you go to play and find out that you're locked behind a bunch of grinding on the same track before you can even play the tracks that you paid for. It's like, you know what? I just turn that shit off. I'm just not. I'm not gonna stream and showcase somebody's product that's greedy as fuck. So that's why I don't play those kind of games. Any game that requires just a constant cash grab, not interested. But those games are for whales. People that's just got endless pockets of cash to throw away. And frankly, some of these games with those business models look old. They look very dated. They've just been around forever, so people play them. Whew. I'm going to the next track or go to sleep. I'm falling asleep. The racing is the best on Le Mans Ultimate. Do you think so? It's alright. I don't know. I just didn't. I guess the business model just turned me off from the whole thing. I just disgusted with that. I just can't in good conscience give people money that treat their customers like a fucking piggy bank. Oh, I need to add this one dude as a friend. He was a really good racer. What was he in? Was that the Enzo? I think it was. Isn't it white? Oh, it's a specced out, almost like mine. Kind of similar. More handling. Huh. Interesting. Can't get it to show the picture of the car, but E-Spec, I think was his name. I'll add him so future he'll get an invite. Yeah, 126.2. I did a 126.4. These other guys didn't finish, they quit. Give me my money. Yeah, frickin' made a car for the win. It's so ugly too. Let's see what's next. If it's a really good track, I'll do another one, but I'm getting tired. I'm kind of making a lot of mistakes, I think. And the tune feels pretty good. Sometimes when I got more tuning to do, I just can't quit. I'm a workaholic like that too. If I'm working on a customer's tune, I'll just work. Whoop, what happened? I disconnect? Guess I hit a button. It's out of early access. I think public content pretty cheap. Yeah, I think they had a pretty good price on it a while back. Normally I would have picked it up, but right now I quit my full-time job, so I'm restarted a couple of businesses and get them going, so they haven't generated any income yet. Streaming generates a little income. Not much, about a couple bucks a day for advertisers. It ain't much. But every once in a while somebody donates to my Dirty Bomb server to keep it alive. So that helps. Let's see. Suzuka. Yeah, I think I'll call it there. That's probably pretty good. Tune's good, and I'm tired. But I will be back. I just need to get some rest. Probably be back around, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours at the most. I usually don't sleep that long. And probably a while for me to go to sleep, though. Anyway. Good to see you guys. Appreciate y'all coming in and check out the stream. I'll be back in a little bit. Make sure you follow and subscribe if you hadn't already. And we're probably going to do some more Battlefield 6 today and some more Forza. Those two for sure. And then we might get into some Dirty Bomb. We might get into something else. Still waiting for a set of Corsa Evo to come out with the multiplayer patch for online. Yeah, Forza's developed on a console. That's, in my opinion, that's the problem. Any games that was developed for console and then it's ported to PC, they treat you like a second-class citizen. Like, they know damn well we use a mouse and keyboard. And they just, like, nobody tests it or something. It's just clunky as crap. The menus hang and freeze and just crap. All the disconnects and stuff, just glitchy. Very glitchy. Well, you know, it's only the 8th version of Forza, so, you know, maybe version 20, 30, in the year 3010. They will have had enough versions of it to figure out how to make it work. But, you know, it's too soon right now.